Okay, in this third module, I'm just going to go through the reserves situation in the world. How much oil we have, how much gas we have, who has how much, and all about this. In the first slide, I have world's oil reserve situation as of at the end of 2010. And as you can see, we have 1.383 trillion barrels of reserves. And remember that reserves are only those oil and gas quantities that can be technically and economically produced. If we cannot produce them economically, we cannot classify them as reserves. They will be only classified as resources. In this slide, you will see that 265 million barrels out of the 1.3 billion barrels out of the 1.383 billion barrels come from Saudi Arabia, followed by Venezuela, Iran, Iraq, Kuwait, and UAE. So you can see that 67% of the oil reserves are in the OPEC countries in the Middle East, and the rest of the oil is distributed in the rest of the world. This is the gas situation. The gas also, we have 6,609 trillion standard cubic feet as at the end of 2010. Again, majority of that gas reserves are in the Middle East, in addition to the Russian Federation. So 65% of the global reserves come from Russian Federation, Iran, Qatar, Saudi Arabia, UAE, and United States. The oil production, if we look at the oil production, in 2010, the total oil production was 82.09 million barrels per day. And this has been as high as 87 million barrels a day. The reason that it is 82.09 million barrels per day now is because of the economic recession, global economic recession. As soon as this recession is over, we will see that this production will be climbing back to about 90 million barrels a day. Again, you can see that 41% of the production comes from the OPEC countries. There are 12 members in the OPEC countries: Saudi Arabia, Kuwait, Iran, Qatar, Venezuela, Angola, and all these countries. And this is the breakdown of the OPEC countries' production. The highest is from Saudi Arabia, followed by Iran, United Arab Emirates, UAE, Kuwait, Venezuela, Iraq, Nigeria, Angola, Libya, Qatar, and Ecuador. So there are 12 members of the OPEC organization. The 2010 gas production, also 309 billion cubic feet per day were produced in 2010. Out of this, again, 18% was produced from the OPEC countries, and 19% was produced in the United States, 18% was produced by Russia, and then followed by the other countries. Again, the breakdown of the OPEC countries, you can see here, Iran is the leader in the gas production, followed by Qatar, Saudi Arabia, Algeria, UAE, and so on. Qatar has the world's largest non-associated gas reserves. They are more in the LNG business. The largest LNG exporter is Qatar. Okay, global oil reserves replacement ratio. This is very, very important. This is a very important key performance indicator of the oil and gas business. Reserves replacement ratio means the amount of oil that we are producing per year. Are we finding new oil to replace this or not? So if the reserves replacement ratio is equal to 1, this means whatever we have produced during the year, we have found equivalent amount of more reserves in that year. If your reserves replacement ratio is less than 1, that means you are not performing very well. And as you can see from this slide, for the last 13 years, our global reserves replacement ratio had been less than 1.